All right, welcome everybody to tonight's candidate forum. I would like to take a few minutes to thank some people. First, the chamber staff. I call them M&M, Melissa Ferrari and Melissa Kincaid. They do an awful lot of great things for our community, and they've done the heavy lifting tonight, so thank you very much. The city of Raymore and their staff are so gracious to allow us to use their facilities, and man, it just makes for a great place to meet. So thank you, City of Raymore. I want to also thank William Manson over here. He's with Risk Assessment Consulting. He's also the Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce. He is the guy with the hook. So when he gives you, like for instance, 1 minute, if we can just be cautious and to follow all that, that'd be fantastic.
Finger up if you need it.
That's right. We keep things rolling that way. So here's how it's all going to work tonight. We've got 3 questions, as we've done in the past, for every candidate. You'll have 2 minutes to answer each question. At the end, we'll give you each a minute to wrap up. You can use that minute however you want to use it, because this is your night. So the first things first, we'll go through your bios. Donald Baker. I decided to run for Raymore City Council because I wanted to give back to my community by utilizing my professional and personal experiences to the city that I call home. My wife of nearly 15 years, Tabitha, and myself decided to invest in Raymore in 2020 and buy a home in Ward 1. My history with the Raymore Belton community goes back over 15 years with my wife's family living in the area for almost 37 years. We spent many weekends coming out to my in-laws' homes and enjoying the Raymore and Belton area over those years before we moved here. I have always been interested in local politics in this area and the potential to grow and the potential growth that it could support. My wife and I love to spend time with our 2 grown sons and host many get-togethers with our family and friends. In my professional life, I have over 32 years of experience in transportation and logistics with 2 large companies. Currently, I am an operations manager with FedEx Freight in Edwardsville, Kansas, which is the largest freight facility in the nation for FedEx. I've been with FedEx for over 17 years. As an operations manager, I am responsible for over 650 employees, payroll budgets that exceed millions of dollars, and the day-to-day operations of running a large operation within budget and answering to our customers and shareholders. FedEx has afforded me the ability to learn and be efficient and effective leadership, communication skills, working collaboratively, internally, and with other centers across the nation, and the importance of staying within budget. I am currently a member of the Raymore Chamber of Commerce, certified QDM expert with FedEx, and a member of the American Society of Quality, ASQ. Donald Baker. Next we have Joseph Burke III, Ward 2. Joe has been married to his wife Kara for 24 years in July. She is an engineering teacher. Joe is father of 3. Joe's daughter attends Ray-Pec High School. Joe's boys are Ray-Pec High School grads, and William is serving in the Missouri National Guard. Joe earned degrees from the University of Missouri, Webster, and William Woods. Joe earned the Certified Municipal Official from Missouri Municipal League. Joe is a teacher for 25 years at Ray-Pec High School, his 30th year overall. Joe served as a den leader for 5 years and a Ray-Pec High School and collegiate soccer coach at Avila University for 15 seasons. He's had season tickets to sporting since the beginning and a season ticket holder for the Kansas City Comets. Joe was twice elected vice chairman of the Raymore Planning and Zoning Commission and is the only current council member to serve on the Charter Review Commission. Joe is also a member of the Raymore Peculiar Sunrise Optimist Club. Joe has served as Ward 2 council member since January 2015. Joe Burke III. Joe Sarsfield. Joe Sarsfield and his wife Chris joined the Raymore community about 12 years ago. As a resident, he has had his own home-based business and is a former member of the Raymore Planning and Zoning Commission. Joe is a U.S. Navy vet with 2 tours of active duty in Vietnam and 14 years as a U.S. Navy Sea Cadet Corps officer. After military service, he studied construction engineering and held numerous licenses related to building maintenance and management. He worked for both the Pennsylvania Department of Public Welfare and the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. Joe was also a locomotive engineer with the Union Railroad for 5 years. That job ended because U.S. Steel closed down, leaving 70,000 workers in steel and related industries without jobs. According to Joe, one of the reasons he and Chris relocated to the Midwest was the local and state governments in Pennsylvania didn't care to listen to the people. He says, "I promise I will always listen to you." Joe Sarsfield. Kevin Barber. Kevin Barber was born and raised in the Cass County area. He is a local business owner on the east side of Raymore. Kevin and his wife Rhonda have 3 children, 2 of whom are grown and 1 is a senior at Ray Peck High School. And he recently welcomed his first grandchild. Raymore's safe neighborhoods, affordable housing, and top-rated school district brought him and his family here 23 years ago. And Raymore's bright future was the main reason they reinvested here with their second home 8 years ago. Kevin's family loves their community church. He is a lifetime member of Raymore Peculiar Sunrise Optimist Club, where he has served as president and has served as mayor pro tem on the Raymore City Council. Kevin would like to see continued planned growth in new business and homes. He wants to see continued investment both in parks and recreational facilities. Kevin is very proud of what the council has accomplished over the last 8 years that he has served. He understands how important it is for each person on the council to be independent, but at the same time to come together as a team in helping the city move forward. Kevin believes the best people to serve on the council are the ones who understand that your ego must be checked at the door and only focus on what's best for Raymore. Kevin believes the strength of the current council is its consistency with regards to how it shapes its policies to help encourage economic growth and bring new families to Raymore. Kevin understands the typical day-to-day successes and trials your family experiences because he's right there with you. Kevin Barber. Next, we have Raymond Kenny, former mayor of Sweet Springs, Missouri. Raymond is a veteran of the U.S. Navy. Kevin grew up in Cleveland, Missouri, and attended Cass Midway High School. Kevin graduated from Longview Community College, and he's the proud parent of 2 children. Raymond, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Kevin. You look like a Kevin, I'm just kidding. Raymond is the proud parent of 2 children. He's also a retired Teamster member. During his years of working and raising a family, he says, I have learned that the most effective way to reach and help the people is through local government. Our day-to-day routines are more affected by our city's actions than any other entity. Ladies and gentlemen, Raymond Kenny. And finally, we have Tom Ingert. Born and raised in the KC metro area, Tom holds a bachelor's degree in business management from Webster University. Employed by the City of Grandview Police Department for 22 years and manager of corporate investigations for Sprint at 16, he's currently serving as president for Morning View Home Association. It's an over 55 community here in Raymore, Missouri, as well as commissioner for Cass County Emergency Service Board, adjunct instructor for Blue River Public Safety and Metropolitan Community College. Married to Candace Ingert for 41 years. He has 1 daughter, Alexandra, living in Vermont. He has a brother, 3 sisters, all in the area with numerous nieces and nephews scattered locally and about the country. Tom enjoys catching fish in Canada, detailing cars, the Kansas City Comets, Royals, and Chiefs, cooking, baking, and making fudge from Great Aunt Frances's recipe. Ooh, that sounds good. He claims to be retired, but is really just mostly tired. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Ingert. I apologize, Raymond, for getting your name wrong earlier. So we're going to have 3 questions, and what we're going to do tonight, we're going to mix up where we start and end each time, so no one gets stuck being the first one every time. We're going to start with Kevin this time. We're going to go towards Tom, and then loop back, ending with Joe on question 1. Here we go. Question 1, please describe your previous work in our community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on the council. Kevin.
I got to get to my cheat sheets here. Thanks, Brent, for serving us up the questions. You know, I could say my 4 terms on the council, one of those serving as Mayor Pro Tem, past president of the Raymore Optimist Club, and my various management positions throughout my professional life, and my business ownership today would qualify me for the council. But, you know, as I thought about that question today, really what I think served me best is my experience raising my family. Having 3 kids, the takeaway you get from that, the understanding that it's not a dictatorship, that you've got to adapt, you've got to listen, you've got to learn, and you got to focus on a goal. And I've done that, I believe, very well with my partner, my wife Rhonda. She's here tonight. We've set that goal, and just like you do on the council, you got to work together, you got to look at the goal, and you got to serve as one body. And as what I've done, what's best for my family, I believe on the council here, every decision I've made is what was best for Raymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Raymond? Sure. Question is, please describe your previous work in our community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on the council.
Currently, I'm a HOA president for Madison Creek, Madison Creek HOA. I'm a little nervous up here. I'm not used to talking in front of all these people.
You might want to make sure your button, is it on green?
It's on green.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. So I started doing that to give back to the community because our HOA was kind of up in the air. It was shambles. There was a lot of arguing going on. My previous experience as mayor, when I took over that position, the reason I took that position or got voted in was because our city council was in such a disarray and arguing. It's actually making the papers in Kansas City and throughout the country. So I was able to get in that, work with the people, work with the council members to get things calmed down and people working together what's best for the community. And that's what I plan on doing here.
Thank you, Raymond. Tom?
I was a police officer for 22 years, and I worked in corporate America for 16 years. To be effective in both of those positions, I had to rely on my people skills. At Sprint, we may have sold phones, but we were really in the people business. During my time as a police officer, my people skills kept me, my direct reports, my fellow officers, and the public we served safe. I'm currently an adjunct instructor at the Blue River Police Public Safety, teaching recruits as well as seasoned officers on the various law enforcement topics, again, using my people skills to ensure that they're successful in their career choice. I'm currently president of the Morningview Homeowners Association, and as you may have guessed, using my people skills have been effective in providing a quality of service to those homeowners as well. And finally, I'm one of the commissioners for the Emergency Services Board that oversees the 911 system in Cass County. And yes, I utilize my people skills to be effective in that position as well. As a council member for the city of Raymore, I feel that having and utilizing my good people skills will allow me to best serve the residents of Ward 4 in this great community of Raymore.
Thank you, Tom. Donald?
Thank you, Brent. When my wife and I moved to Raymore several years ago, we moved to the Wood Creek subdivision. When we first came in, one of the first things I did was get involved with our HOA, learning the rules, kind of learning the area, what needed to be done, what I could do, what my neighbors were saying and all that. I was kind of the person within our own cul-de-sac if something was out wrong, if there was something that needed assistance or whatever. I was the one that would call my local councilman. I would, send emails to the city, whatever it may be, to get things fixed or whatever within our cul-de-sac. That kind of led me to the getting involved in the city. Our website, I think in Raymore, is excellent. I was watching the council meetings, the planning and zoning meetings, just to learn what our city was about and what was really upcoming. It's really a gateway to see where this community is going if you follow those meetings. Since I declared my candidacy on December 19th, I've attended every meeting, every work session, developed relationships with all the council people and much of the staff, which I think is important. Going into the role, if you get elected, I want to hit the ground running the day I'm sworn in and make an impact on this committee. So as an operations manager, I'm responsible for getting things done. A problem solver at all levels is what I would classify myself as. I think with my experience, it would be a fresh new view on the Raymore City Council. with my years of experience running a large operation and getting things done with intelligent decisions, and really working collaboratively with fellow council members, working with the city staff, and working with residents as they bring comments and concerns up to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Joe?
Thank you. As far as my previous work, Raymore, I had been here once before and I didn't realize it, and then I was working on the state map test for science and made a sarcastic comment over a salad bar about the standards were going to be way too low, and I was offered a job by Pete Monks, who was assistant superintendent here. And so as I moved here from Kansas City Schools, I wasn't actually looking for a new job. I was thinking, oh, I know my whole school next year at Central Middle. I'll know every kid's name. That's going to give me ability to work. And really, that's a huge thing in my whole career, is learning people's names, whether it be in coaching, whether it be in emailing. And it's just one of the most crucial things. If you don't know someone's name, you're not going to be able to really communicate with them, because you're not going to know them and be able to understand where they're coming from. So then later on in my career, I worked on my degree. I was working on trying to become a superintendent at the time, which I've abandoned that idea. But in the middle of it, going to things and going to legislative brunches and things and talking to different people, I had a couple people come to me and say, well, have you ever considered doing stuff for a city? And I had just left Cub Scouts at the time, and it was a perfect opportunity to look at planning and zoning. And I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was exciting. The sewers in Silver Lake are older than the city. There's just so many things that lead you to the next thing. And I feel like that everything I do, I'm looking to learn from the person I'm listening to and seeing what their experiences are, because you never know when I might make a comment that's going to lead me to my next career. I'll be looking here in 3 semesters for something else. So, but I'll still be doing this, hopefully. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. And finally, Joe Sarsfield.
Good evening. I have lived here for, 15 to 16 years, and my wife and I moved here after our kids have moved here. Our children, they were both grown. We didn't go to the school system here. And the only thing I've done as far as locally in the community is I was a member of the planning and zoning for a couple years. But in my time here, I started my own business. As you may have seen my signs all over the place at one time, or on my truck was Joe's Handyman Service, which I'm not doing anymore. But when I got to these homes, I would say that 90% of the people I worked for were in the Raymore area, and they were over 65. And a lot of times, these were repeat customers. And I got to the point, I got a rapport with them. And I would say to them, well, how do you like living where you live, wherever you were in Raymore? How do you like doing this? How do you like the way the city's going? Just small talk. But after 12 years of small talk, I heard a lot of the same negative response. The response was, no one pays attention to us. We talk, we go in, we complain, we inquire, and we just get, okay, that's nice, we'll see what we can do about it. That's straight from the horse's mouth. I'm not going to sit here and say all the great things I may have done or could have done or on this committee or that committee. To me, it doesn't count totally. What counts is listening to the people and not pushing them aside and trying to do something about it when they have a complaint. Whether it's 5 people, 50 people, or just one person, they're there for a reason. They live here, they pay the taxes, they have a right to be heard. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. All right, question 2. And what we're going to do with question 2, Tom, we're going to start with you and work our way down to Donald, okay? Question 2, what is something you would like to see changed after you are elected, and why? Tom.
Thank you. You know, I've thought about this question for some time now, and I don't know anything that I feel needs to be changed at this particular time. However, As a council member representing Ward 4 for the city of Raymore, I feel it's my responsibility to carefully listen to the members of my ward who may have an idea about change and work with them to see if there's an effective way to make that change. In my past, when managing my teams, I've always told them, as your boss, as your supervisor, you can come to me with any issues you come across, but I also expect to hear what your solutions are to those issues. Just because I'm boss doesn't mean I have the answer for everything. It just means that I'm the one that's held accountable. And I want you to be held accountable for your problems and your solutions as well. This accountability would include the problem and the solution, and my intention as Ward 4 representative is to follow the same line of action in addressing any change that may come forward. Thank you.
Tom, thank you. Raymond?
I'm sorry.
No
Thank
worries.
you. My whole life. So I've talked to a lot of different people in here. This community has grown so much. I graduated in 1980, and the population here was around 3,000. And now we're over 20,000. So in that 40-year span, we've grown, I think, almost more than any other community in the state that I know of. And the infrastructure, as far as the roads, we've gone past that. Anybody that works that has to leave Raymore in the morning and come back in the evening can know the troubles that they're having, especially on 58. And I think one of the things we really need to address as we're growing older is to get our infrastructure, particularly the roads, better and more suitable for growing even more than we are now, because we want to grow this community so people will come in here and enjoy it, but they don't want to have the hassle of the 58 highway. So that's one of the things I think we need to work on. As far as other things, I think work with the council, because every council member has their own idea of what we need to work on. And the whole key is to work together on what we see that we need to be changed. Because I have an idea doesn't mean it's the correct one. You know, somebody else may be giving me a better idea. So that's why we need more than one person up here working together to solve all these problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Kevin?
Thank you. You know, this question, you know, every term is kind of the same. I would agree with Raymond here. Connectivity is huge in Raymore. The problem is we don't have control over most of it. And we depend on state and federal dollars to do that. And a lot of that comes through, well, my next comment is the Mid-America Regional Council, which is MARC. And the main thing I would like to see changed in my next term is I'd like to take a long, hard look at MARC and see what they're actually doing for our city. I believe they let us down. MARC is supposed to have a regional solid waste plan, and they don't apparently have one, or we wouldn't be having this landfill issue right now. We're spending tax dollars with them, and I really don't see what we're paying for, to be quite honest. And another thing that really bothers me, MARC had a meeting with the landfill developer before they talked to the city of Raymore about the landfill. And let me repeat that. MARC had a meeting with the landfill developer before they talked to the city of Raymore about that. MARC, the people that are supposed to be on our side, and it sure doesn't sound like they are. So I'm real adamant about having staff, sit down with staff, have a work session with my fellow council members. Hopefully they feel the same way with me. And let's take a long, hard look at MARC and see what they're really doing for us. Because we don't have a 58 bridge, we don't have a way out to 155th, and we obviously don't have a solid waste plan. And all of those things are hurting our city right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Joe?
Thank you, Kevin. You just took page 1 out of my notes. So I'll have to start on page 2. Some things I like to change as far as things are going on within the city council itself. I think it's a negative response for the voters of Raymore. Just for tonight, as an example, we have people that are running in Ward 1, 2, 3, 4. And only the people that live in those certain wards can vote for the people in the ward they live in. Ward 2, people vote for me in Ward 2, if they choose to. The thing is, once the people get elected, no matter who they are, it's every councilman that votes on the happenings in Raymore. Ward 2 is in a separate city of Raymore, or a division. On paper it is. It's on the map. Ward 1 is a separate thing. We're all part of the city of Raymore. So I think everyone should have a choice, everyone in Raymore, regardless of what ward you're in, to vote for every person running for city council, because all the decisions are made by the whole city council. Number 2, I also believe that for the Planning and Zoning Commission, that should be an elected post. Like the city council, 2 people per ward, so they can make the decisions on what's going on. Now, I don't know all the people offhand off the top of my head on what ward they live in on the Planning and Zoning. They could be all from Ward 4 or all for Ward 1. We need to have a balance of what's going on. And Ward 2 is the smallest ward, the oldest type of community, I believe, in Raymore, and anything else that happens outside our circle, just like, oh, that's only Ward 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Joe Burke.
Thank you. Can you repeat the question, please?
Certainly. Question 2. What is something you would like to see changed after you are elected, and why? Joe.
I have an easy answer for this. If you go back years ago, if you remember School Board President Leo Anderson, he ran on communication, that we needed to improve communication. Ruth's smiling, shaking her head. Now, I'm not trying to say that our communication isn't good, and I'm not trying to say that obviously we've gotten a lot of communication from our citizens to our legislative body to get them to vote, what was it, 139 to 16 today to pass House Bill 909. But communication can always be improved. We have texting, we have emails, we have this video that's going out. There's constantly information, but not everyone knows and finds all the communication. And so it can always be improved. I know after Leo left, some of the same things were still in place. Communication's always something that can be improved on. And that is a two-way situation. It's communication from the constituents to our elected officials. If you don't talk to them or us, we don't know your concerns. But then it's our duty to get back to you and come up with some type of a solution. The second thing is, I wanted to say we want to have a way to know exactly where we are. When you get to Raymore, you should be able to drive through and say, I'm in Raymore now. We've been looking at those things and trying to plan for something like that for years, and it's a tough call, but I think we could improve some signage to celebrate Raymore, maybe on our street poles. And also, we're going to get a dog park in, hopefully before my dog passes away. And that is change that people have been asking for years, but no Olive Garden. Thank you.
That's right. Thanks, Joe. And finally, Donald.
Okay, I've got a couple things that once elected I would like to focus on. The first would be growing the involvement of citizens into our civic issues. 2 of us up here tonight are running unopposed, and we're new to the council for this term. That kind of says something that I think we should have more involvement. We should have 5, 6, 7, 8 people running for each ward to get good ideas across the wide spectrum of our citizens in the community. I will say that on February 16th, when we had the public hearing, that was one of the proudest moments I think the city should ever have had, having the amount of people show up, hundreds of people crammed into Centerview, expressing their opinions, the compassion and passion that they were talking about, the local media that was there, friends, neighbors. That makes me proud to be a citizen of Raymore, to see that. It also inspires me to be even more involved in the city, which is why I chose to run. Second point would be the entertainment infrastructure. I talk to a lot of people about this all the time in our city. that we need to become a destination city, not something that we go elsewhere for entertainment. What I mean by that is, restaurants have always, I think, kind of been an issue over here. We need unique restaurants. My examples like Lambert's, or they're opening a Casa Bonita back up in Denver that I used to when I played football out in that area of the country. Places that people would come to Raymore to visit a restaurant like that and then experience our city. Secondly, after that, I think that's the future of our city, that, I love the idea of having a signboard that when you get off the highway, you're in Raymore. Lastly, the area close to my house between Dean Avenue and 49, North Cass and Lucy Webb, that's really going to be the billboard of Raymore. We put something in there like a Zona Rosa, something that citizens and people going up and down 49 can see. That's going to draw people in off our 2 exits and get them into our city, and eventually want to move here and live here, for their lives. So that's my points. Thank you.
Thanks, Donald. On to question 3. I think what we'll do this time, we're going to start with Joe Sarsfield, and we're going to work our way around ending in Kevin Barber. Okay? Joe, here's question 3. Describe how you would expand and diversify the city's economy.
Well, I think the biggest thing is what Donald was saying, second biggest thing. People have to know we exist, but I don't think we have to need to be existed for go to Raymore to eat. Restaurants follow industry. Restaurants follow commerce. We need industry in this town, manufacturing, whatever. I'm not talking about a steel plant or something that takes a ton of energy and a ton of water or something. You bring in industry for full-time jobs, for people to live in these houses that everyone is building all around us, including our Raymore. They're not going to afford a house if you're a single parent working 60 hours a week to try to make things ends meet. It just isn't going to happen. We have to bring industry in. What I mean by full-time jobs are 35 to 40 hours or more a week, paid benefits, life insurance, et cetera, et cetera. When those industries come into play, the people come into work and they stay here year after year, not transit out to another place because the job they have or the grass looks greener on the other side. When you get industry in and commercialization and production, the restaurants will want to come in. They'll be beating you over the head to come in because, hey, look at what's going on in Raymore. Restaurants are nice, but that's not the drawing factor we need in Raymore. We need full-time job, industry, commercialization, and then the small businesses support them. HVAC, insurance companies, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have to make the list. You know what that is. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Joe Burke.
Thank you. As far as expanding and diversifying our economy, we've been doing quite a bit of that in the last few years. And I remember in 2015, I talked about, we need jobs that are not person having 3 jobs to pay part of their rent in an apartment. The apartment prices, I've got 2 boys that are out of high school, and they are dismayed with what they're going to be able to afford to live in. But as far as the economy, we want to identify what we have in our workforce, what skill sets we have, and one of the main things that will drive more into our economy is our daytime population. The number of people that travel through this city that eat, work, go to the doctor, go to the dentist, shop, whatever. That's the population of around 59,000, I think, that we have through the city each day. People would be shocked. But we do have a tremendous amount of people coming in, and those daytime visitors are spending money. And those are the things that drive restaurants here. We can't beg a restaurant to come here like Olive Garden because Olive Garden doesn't care. They are not expanding their market anywhere. Each company has its own idea of how they're going to make their profits. We have to do things to make our workforce look like it's one of the best in the nation and bring them here, like we've been doing with our warehouses. We've got Southern Glazers Wine and Distillery opening. They're putting in a tremendous amount of infrastructure. We've got Newly coming in. I talked to one of the CEOs of Urban Outfitters, and he said, remember, you got a friend in Philly now. I said, I got family in both sides of Philly. I got them in Jersey. I got them in West Philly. And he goes, now you got one right in the heart of the city. We want to make more friends across the country to come and do stuff and bring our economy up in this city. And that, once again, is going to be based on communication. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Donald.
Okay. I think the single most important goal that I would feel for Raymore and expanding our economy is to keep Raymore dollars in Raymore. I know a lot of people who live out here, we tend to, go other places to go shopping, to eat restaurants. We have jobs that we have to commute to. Even my job, it's a 35-minute commute. When we lived in Raytown, my wife and I had the option of building a house or buying a house closer to my work over there, but I chose Raymore because I knew the history of Raymore and the potential it had. So I have a long commute, and I think that says something that, I'm willing to live farther away to live in a community that I feel comfortable in and I want to retire in. But we do need to bring in businesses that contribute jobs, and I agree, that are full-time jobs that people can make a good living on. They don't have to work a full-time and a part-time job. And they have all the benefits to that, getting people's commute down to, hey, I work down, the warehouse, the Raymore Community or Commerce Center. That's going to help out. I think we need to increase businesses that come in that gives us a healthy tax base to supplement the things that we need for our city, as far as city services and roads, infrastructure, and all that. Core local businesses, I think that's always a backbone to a community, that we support local businesses. We give them everything they need to be successful. That is something that, you always hear, support local business, and I think that's something that we need to continue doing. Types of jobs, obviously, blue collar, white collar, service providers, IT professional jobs, those are the things we need to focus in on as far as what businesses are coming in. Potentially, we have 1,000 jobs with the 2 businesses that are going to open up in the Raymore Commerce Center. We need to be mindful of when those jobs open and those people come here, can we support them with restaurants, infrastructure, where are they going to live at, will they commute, so forth. So I really think keeping Raymore dollars in Raymore by having smart development is the future of this city. Thank you.
Thanks, Donald. Tom.
Thank you. To expand and diversify a city's economy requires teamwork, requires proper planning, understanding, and commitment, and it requires good communication. I believe that our current city administration, our Chamber of Commerce, our school district have all those qualifiers and practice those skills in making Raymore a great place to call home. I understand the value of those qualifiers, and I look forward to becoming part of the team that continues to move the city ahead for years and for generations to come.
Thank you, Tom. Raymond.
I've agreed with a lot of what they've said here, and what everybody just about agrees with is the infrastructure. What's going to be unique about Raymore for a business to come in here? Easy access, in and out. We have a lot of retail, we have a lot of restaurants, that type of thing, but people don't have jobs basically here that's going to be full-time jobs that they work near, because we don't have the space. Well, I've heard of businesses saying they would like to have more businesses in town, but the buildings are just not there. There's no buildings for them to move into. We need to look at the roads, we need to look at the buildings where we can move a business into, and I think we need to look at some kind of a idea of making this a unique place. We don't have a downtown area, which makes a lot of towns unique with their downtown area. We need to set up something similar to that would make us unique over somebody else. Our restaurants and our communities over here are hurting because of the roads here. I've talked to people in Belton that would like to come over here and eat dinner, a lot of the restaurants over here, but they don't want to fight the traffic at 5 o'clock in the evening trying to cross the bridge into Belton to Raymore. So in order to make ourselves grow, we may need to make it appealing for the businesses to be here. And that's what I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Raymond. Finally, Kevin.
Thank you. That's an interesting question, because I know that's been a part of the city's master plan, and we look at the type of business and the type of business that are investing in Raymore right now, and we have a good mix. We've looked at that, and that's part of our policy to get that. We do have the Raymore Commerce Center that's going in, that we got newly, and Southern Glazers, Councilman mentioned. And I think the Southern Glazer jobs, I think those are union jobs that are coming in. So those are very, very good jobs. I think people misunderstand the role of a city council person. You know, they think I can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I'd like for you to come to my city, and they come running. Well, that's really not our role. Our role is to make sure that staff has the right tools to market Raymore effectively. And then we need them to stay engaged with that, because it's a very, very competitive market. We don't choose the businesses, they choose us. So, you know, it's a fine line. We can look at our city's budget. We can look at revenue to date. We're over 50% just in the first quarter. So that tells me we've got a very diversified economy because of that. And we really didn't hurt during COVID because of that. So that shows me there. One of the things that attracts, like a Johnny's looked at our city for 6 years before they invested. And what they looked for is rooftops, and they looked at a stable government. They wanted to know that they could come in, put a plan together, invest in this city, and have it pay off. And I think we've shown that that's happened. We got some other, and that's really more of a mom and pop. That's not a regional restaurant. And I think with the Newly, and I think with the Southern Glazers, people are going to know where Raymore, Missouri is. They obviously know where we're at because of this landfill, but once we get past that, they're going to continue to know where we're at. So thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Now we have a 1-minute wrap-up. You can use the minute however you want to. Well, we're going to start with Donald and work our way down to Tom. So, Donald?
Okay, thank you, Brent. Public service has always been a goal of mine. With my kids grown and moved away, my wife and I are empty nesters. Really, the time is right for me now to become involved in city functions and really become part of Team Raymore, I feel. Passion to see our community grow into the future is something that drives me to want to do this. My experience in the corporate world will be an asset that I can give back to the city as far as experience and knowledge of how things work at certain levels. The ability to communicate and solve issues, I think, is key for any government employee to be able to listen and determine what needs to be done. I want to represent the citizens and Ward 1, but also all the citizens of Raymore in this position. I think honesty and integrity are the pillars in which I live by. I'm basically, people that know me, I'm a no-nonsense person. I try and get things done as I need to, and I think I'll be right for the role for City Council. I want to thank you, Brent, William, Melissa, and David for hosting this event tonight. I really look forward to it and I had a good time. Thank you.
Thanks, Donald. Joe?
Thank you. I want to thank the Chamber for hosting us again this year, but I also want to spend my minute thanking the staff of Raymore, the people that get paid to run this city. Here's some of the things they've done in the last couple of years. They brought in 13 new businesses, quality businesses, 550 new jobs. The staff has won 4 national awards for our parks, national awards. We are finally getting the dog park, and that is being designed by the people in-house. We're one of the few cities in the country that have 2 fully inclusive parks. That's the staff working. We supervised it, but they did the work. We have a total of $3.6 million that were spent on our streets and curbs. And our staff, instead of spending our money, Belton's money, and the county's money, we had obtained federal and state grants of $72 million to expand I-49 from 155th Street to North Cass Parkway to 6 lanes. Thank you to the people that work for Raymore.
Thanks, Joe. Joe?
Yes, I think everyone wants to appreciate what's taking place here tonight in Chamber of Commerce and everybody's work, and the city does. But I have some concerns that I think is we still have to look at our budget and how we spend money. And I'll give a simple example. Let's say we have 10 miles of curbs that need replaced in Raymore, okay? And every year we replace 10% of that. And next year, we replace another 10%. But in that year in turn, we have the curbs that keep breaking apart. So we're back to a 10 miles of curb that needs replaced. So we take care of 10%, add 10% more destructions. We fix 10%, we have 10% needs fixed again. Certain things we can put off. We have to put our money for our needs, not our wants, first. If we have the money to replace the curbs, whether it's a big contractor, they might have 50 to 200 workers. You have a year to do the curb replacement, as an example. If it's a small contractor that only has 20 workers, you still have a year to do it. If they get done early, wonderful. That's an example.
Thanks, Joe. Kevin.
Thank you. I'm going to respond to that a little bit. We have added to our curbs and streets preservation, so I think we do an effective job to increase that, and we'll continue to increase that. But again, first of all, I want to say Robin was a much nicer timekeeper than Bill, so I got to tell you that. Bill seems a little harsh. Again, Brent, thank you and the Raymore Chamber and staff for putting this together. You know, I'll be seeking my 5th term this April and 4th, and I've never been so excited to run for the city of Raymore, even with the challenges ahead. I'm up for the challenge. Remember, your city services and local government has a major impact on your daily lives. Your streets, your curbs, your sidewalks, your water, sewer, parks, and most of all, your safety. My pledge is to keep Raymore a first-class city, because some of the people, or all the people around here, are the best people I know. I humbly ask for your vote April 4th, and remember, a vote for Kevin Barber is a vote to keep Raymore moving forward and kill the fill.
Thank you, Kevin. Raymond.
I think he's excited because he's running against me, but I would come in here and try to work with better communication with the mayor and the city council there. I don't think there's enough communication between the council and the people that live here. There's several different ways you can improve that. You know, you can go to the HOA board meetings, you can go wherever the people are meeting, you know, and get your face known out there and let them know who you are. I've asked at least 100 people, who's your council member? Most of them say, I don't know. What are they going to vote on this week? I don't know. We need to communicate that. And when you come to the city council meeting, I mean, they do a very good job, but you can bet that the mayor's going to make a motion, the pro tem is going to second it, everybody votes. That's it. You don't get a discussion between the members, what's going on. You don't let us know, you have the bill reading with title only, but we don't know what they're thinking about that. So I think the communication needs to be opened up more. Thank you.
Thanks, Raymond. Finally, Tom.
Thank you. I remember being in 6th grade learning about government and how it works. A point that stuck for me from that class had to do with elected positions. I remember learning from many elected officials' responsibility was to serve and represent the voice of the people within his or her district, and the voice of the people came first. As a councilman for Ward 4, I will do my best to see that the voice of the people is heard and treated fairly. I'd also like to thank the Chamber and their staff for putting this together, and a big thanks to the city for allowing use of this facility for this event. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. For everyone watching, April 4th is a big time, man. Let's all get out and vote. And I mean, everybody show up and vote. That's the one thing we can control. In case you haven't caught on, we've got Donald Baker running for Ward 1. I think you're unopposed. In Ward 2, we have the Joes. We have Joseph Burke, and we got Joe Sarsfield. In Ward 3, Kevin Barber and Raymond Kinney. And in Ward 4, we've got Tom Ingert. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Best of luck to all of you.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to have a 10-minute break. Let's try to hold that to 10 minutes, and then we'll bring up the school board candidates. right, if we can all get seated, that'd be great. All right, guys. All these smiley faces, I just love that. So we're going to get started here, and just as before, we do have some one housekeeping rule, and that's if we can turn our phones to silent, that'd be great. Rules of engagement are like this. You're going to have 3 questions, just like your counterparts running for city council. You'll have 2 minutes to answer the questions. William's got the hook. He'll let you know, give you a couple different warnings there. But he's mean. No, I'm just kidding. He's a good dude. So at the end, you'll each have a 1-minute wrap-up. And you can use the minute however you want to. It's your minute, and this is your night. So we're going to read your bios now. We'll start with Paul Kaufman. I was raised in Chase, Kansas, where my mom and dad were both school teachers, and my dad was also a farmer. I received a bachelor's degree from Kansas State, where I also played football. I played for the Green Bay Packers, where I was voted All-Pro 3 times. I was a member of the Chiefs in 1986 and 1987, and the Vikings in 1988. In 1994, I was inducted into the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame. We moved into the Ray-Pec School District in 1990, and I have 4 children graduate from the Ray-Pec High School and go on to receive their college degrees. My wife, Amy, has worked in the district as a substitute. I have been on the school board for 2 terms now and have served as president and vice president. With the growth we are experiencing in our district, we have many challenges. Our main job as a school board is to hire our superintendent and put our administration and teachers in position to succeed. It is also important for us to keep our schools safe and provide our children with learning experiences that will help them in life or to further their education. Paul Kaufman. Next, we have Ruth Johnson. My name is Ruth Johnson, and I'm asking for your vote for a Ray-Pec School Board of Education. I have lived in our district for over 27 years. My 4 children are now grown adults, and I have now entered the next phase of my life as a Mimi. My wife's a Mimi too. So I am now excited about watching my grandchildren go through the education systems. I am an engaged community member of Raymore after living for many years in Peculiar. Both communities are great places to live and raise your family. I am a current board member and serve on several committees. I enjoy being able to support and encourage our students, staff, and teachers. I also currently serve as president-elect of the Missouri State School Boards Association. Ruth Johnson. I think we have a bio for Janet Jones. She was unable to be here for right now. We'll go ahead into Ashley Jones. My name is Ashley Jones, and I'm a parent, former board member, and current educator. I have 3 children who attend Creekmore Elementary, East Middle School, and the high school. I have also had the pleasure of serving as a Ray-Pec School Board member from 2018 to 2021. I am a former employee of the Ray-Pec School District, where I served as a special education coordinator at the high school. Currently, I am in my 14th year in education and work in the Raytown School District. Ashley Jones. Christina Sarsfield. My name is Christine Sarsfield, originally from the state of Pennsylvania, born and raised in the city of Pittsburgh. For 55 years, I lived in Pennsylvania before moving to Missouri in 2006. I am a graduate of St. Raphael High School and also a graduate of Allegheny Community College with an associate degree in the applied art of dental hygiene. At college, I was a member of Phi Theta Kappa Omicron Pi chapter and a Dean's List student. Upon graduation in May of 1996, I was honored to achieve a summa cum laude award. In the United States Navy Sea Cadet Corps, in which I served for over 5 years, was a program for it must be kids between the ages of 14 and 17. As a Corps member, I was a first aid health officer, an administration officer, and also an education and training officer. At this time, I'm retired from a career in dental hygiene, have been certified and worked in Pennsylvania, Missouri, and Kansas. This March, my husband Joe and I will celebrate 50 years of marriage. Probably felt like 55, I'm just kidding. I am seeking a position in the Raymore Peculiar School Board in the April 4th election. Christine Sarsfield. Now let's read the bio for Janet Jones. She was unable to be here. I think she's not feeling very well tonight. Janet and her husband Donovan have been married 9 years with 4 kids in the district, 3 seniors who are counting down the days till graduation, and their youngest is a first grader at Bridle Ridge. Janet studied accounting at Blue River Community College and has over 15 years of experience in banking, finance, and management. She currently owns and operates a real estate development company. Janet has served on the Citizens Advisory Committee for 2 years and recently joined the Long-Term Facility Planning Committee. Janet Jones. All right, so we've got 3 questions, and we don't want any one person to have to start or finish every time. So this time we'll start with Ashley Jones, and we're going to work our way around ending in Ruth Johnson. Question 1, why do you want to be on the Board of Education, and what qualities do you possess, that you would bring to the school board? So let's read that again. Why do you want to be on the Board of Education, and what qualities do you possess that you would bring to the school board? Ashley Jones. Oh, yes, if you'll hit the button, that'd be great. Thanks.
Absolutely. Some of the qualities that I possess, you kind of talked about in my bio. I am in my 14th year in education. I did spend a year working in the Ray-Pec School District last year as a special education coordinator. I also served on the board previously and had resigned from the position to take a job in the district. I think that some of the other qualities that I have is that I'm educated about education. Education's my life. This is where I've spent all my time. I continue to try to build up the things that I know and provide valuable information to my staff and the teachers that I work with on a daily basis. I'm also a good listener. I like to get community feedback. People know that I've either worked in the district or was a board member, so people just naturally kind of come to you and tell you their problems and the things that are going on. And so in this position, you just kind of listen and take everything in, and everybody has different opinions, and our job is to share that information to the other board members. And then I think the other question was why I want to be on the board. And my job and what I would like to do is just help build a sense of community to continue to grow our district. We know that we continuously have families flooding to our area and want to attend our schools, so how to plan for that, and I want to be a part of what that looks like for our district.
Thank you, Ashley. Chris?
Part of my wanting to be on the school board, or why I would want my qualities I possess, is that I bring a unique perspective as a citizen of Raymore. And part of my bio, being a dental hygienist and being in the public eye and working with the public, part of my what I did as a hygienist, we would go into schools and teach them about oral hygiene and the practice of dieting and what that is, what that means to them. And we had to have lessons plans, and we had to have everything, subject and objectives of what we were studying. So I had also in my bio, I said I worked with 13 to 17-year-olds in the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps, which I was a part of for 5 to 6 years, as a first aid health officer, educational officer, and administrator. And I think that these qualities of being in those areas of my life that has brought me to believe that being on the school board, I have something unique to bring to it. I would represent the citizens of our community in their concerns and the taxpayers. I also think that, it's important that we want to bring the best to our school, to have the best schools that, people are coming to Raymore and knowing that their children are going to get a good education, a quality education.
Thanks, Chris. Paul?
I don't know if anything could qualify you to go through what we've gone through the last few years with the pandemic, but I think as a former athlete, you have to kind of assess what you've done and always expect the unexpected and plan for some things that are going to come up that you didn't plan on, and that was what happened with the pandemic. And so that just ability to adjust, and again, to be involved in the community. And when we were hiring a new superintendent, I had a couple calls to my phone recommending who we should hire. When we went to hire a new football coach, I got cornered in Casey's, I got cornered in the grocery store. We actually had one man come to our house, and while my wife was there, knock on the door, says, "Is this where Paul Kaufman lives?" She said, "Yes, he's on the school board, isn't he?" "Yes." "Well, I have a list of coaches here he should fire." So I think I'm accessible to the public. People around here know me, they trust me, and I'm again willing to listen to what they have to say and just be a voice in the community.
Thanks, Paul. Finally, Ruth.
Why do I do it? My next generation, coming along, that's the why. The qualities I possess, the ability to listen, the experience, the institutional knowledge, the passion is still there. I still absolutely love what I get to do every single day. And with having a free schedule, that allows me to do a few more things than a regular board member would get to do because I have the time to do them. I have the experience to hit the ground running when we're reelected, and then my passion still lies here. I've lived in this district for over 27 years, so I'm rooted and grounded here and appreciate all that we do.
Thanks, Ruth. All right, question 2. I think what we'll do, we'll start with Chris, and we're going to work our way down to Paul. Question 2 is, are there any issues with the Ray-Pec School District that cause you to want to run for the school board? Chris.
I have 2 reasons that I want to run for the school board. The first reading is a never-ending pattern of tax and spending that must be paid by the citizens of our community. The second issue is the issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion theory, which is nothing but dividing the community instead of coming together in commonality. We are different, but each person has a rich culture, heritage to bring to this community. We should all be treated with respect and honor. Everyone should be included and welcomed and with dignity and respect. Epic Times today had a article that it was featured by 40 years ago. President Ronald Reagan announced the findings of the study stated on the education in America's cities in the infamous report, A Nation at Risk. President Reagan declared our education system, once the finest in the world, is in a sorry state of disrepair. A Nation at Risk report was a shocking indictment of American schools. Mr. O'Connor Barrack, a American education system was not adequately preparing our young people for a changed economic or competitive workforce. I feel this is what's happening today. I think that we do need to have a better educational system, and we should be doing more for the kids, that they would learn and that they would, we had a setback as far as I'm concerned is with COVID, and we have fallen back on our ratings of math and reading scores, where sometimes it's 41% to 45% in math and 50% to 68% in reading. I think those scores need to come up. So this is one of the reasons why I want or what I feel that there's an issue here.
Thank you, Chris. Ashley.
I don't believe there are any specific issues. I don't have an agenda of why I'm running for the school board. Education, public education, in every district, we're all facing the same issues. Everywhere you go, it's the same thing. I face it daily in my job. I see it here in our school district. And ultimately, my biggest issue is that I just want to ensure that all kids, including my own, have the best educational experiences possible and get the best education here in Ray-Pac.
Thank you, Ashley. Ruth.
Are there any issues? No, because it's not about me. It's about the 6,500 plus students, the 900 plus employees, and the 30,000 plus community members that we serve every single day. So it's not about me.
Thank you, Ruth. Finally, Paul.
The school board's number one job is to hire a superintendent, and I think we've done an excellent job in hiring Dr. Schlegel, putting him in position to succeed, the administrative staff, with Brian Pettengill, Al Volker, Lisa Hatfield. I mean, I could just go on and on. Cindy Bias is here. Just the people that surround him, the administrative staff, do such a good job. And as I mentioned earlier, just to look forward to say, what's education going to look like in 10 years? What's it going to look like in 5 years? We saw that we had to change to a virtual format here during the pandemic. Is that something that is going to be used in the future to educate kids? So, to look forward and again, there's so much going on right now with the LEAD Center, the new Performing Arts Center. We are giving kids opportunities to chase their dreams and put teachers in position to succeed. And I think one of the big things is passing this RP1 proposal that's going to allow us to pay our teachers more, to recruit teachers, and to keep the good teachers that we have, because they can go across the street here and make more money. They can go to Lee Summit and make more money. But again, people are coming to Raymore, and the number one thing that people ask about when they move to a community are, how are the schools? And right now, we're getting people to move in here because our schools are good, and I think it starts with our administrative staff, and the board has done a good job in hiring.
Thank you, Paul. On to question 3. We'll start this time with Ruth, and then we're going to work our way ending in Ashley, okay? So Ruth, here's question 3. What issues do you believe your district needs to address in its academic program and offerings? What changes would you recommend?
Well, I think we have done a good job the last few years with opening up options for our students. You know, I look, I've got a young man that had he been about 5 years later would have been a totally different experience for him in our high school, because there's so many more options now. Not every student learns the same way. We need to make sure that we are giving them a pathway for them to learn at whatever they need to do it with, whether it be from special education to the LEAP program, you know, and everything in between. We need to, you know, teacher pay. We've known for a long time it needed more, but where was it going to come from? So this proposition is going to allow us to work on that teacher and staff pay. It's not just for teachers, it's for everybody that works for us, so everybody will be impacted by it. I think we just need to continue to find the ways to help our kids learn in the way that they learn, to teach our kids in the way that they learn best, partner with our parents on following up at home when necessary, and just engaging those parents in discussions as well.
Thanks, Ruth. Paul?
You know, I'd tend to agree with Ruth that I don't think there needs to be any academic change in the curriculum. I think the programs that we are adding and have added are, again, going to prepare children for life after high school, whether it is college or whether it's the job force. And, you know, the community has embraced the school district by, you know, passing the proposition RP that we initially passed to allow us to buy the old Orchlands building and turn it into the Lead Center, to break ground on the 9th grade center that will become a new high school because of the growth. So again, to address that growth, to be able to attract teachers, you know, that's kind of the #1 issue right now, and I believe our teachers and our staff are doing a great job of educating our students right now.
Thanks, Paul. Chris?
I'm pleased to say that the LEAD program, and I'm really proud of them, that Raymore School Board has put that forth. It is a path for students who don't see themselves being in a college setting. They have opportunities for electrical, heating and cooling, automation, robotics, carpentry, and pharmacy technician that that the kids can look into. I mean, it is a good thing that we're doing, and I'm glad that the school board has done that. I have to congratulate them on that. They are pursuing a culture to empowering students to continuously succeed and measured by the NWEA. And I also recommend a continuous focusing, learning, and developing assessment with focus on students reaching their potential goal as they set it for themselves. I just think that we are making progress, and I'm glad to see that we are making progress, but we still, like Dr. Slagle, and he said that we still need to have our readings and math scores come up because of the COVID, and he says that is important.
Thanks, Chris. Finally, Ashley.
Just to piggyback off of what everyone said, the district has done a fantastic job with the LEAD Center and expanding the Performing Arts Center. We offer great opportunities for students to look outside of college. As far as having worked in the district, I do see areas where there are holes that we need to fill. I think that we have students that behaviorally may not fit into the standard school setting, so I feel like there needs to be more options available to them to receive their education. Our program is not as vast in that regards into providing alternate education for them. As regards to special education, that's kind of where my background is, and we can service students in special education up to the age of 21, but our district doesn't offer a program for 18 to 21-year-old students. And so we use Harrisonville to provide those services for those students. We also don't have any type of behavior skills program for our students who are struggling in exhibiting behaviors that are impeding their learning or the learning of others. And that's a problem that we don't have a place for those students to go. In regards to mental health, we have done a fantastic job on that front, but we're not addressing all of the academic issues that happen and the disadvantages that happen with that, with absenteeism and not being there and receiving the curriculum. They need opportunities to get intervention and reteaching and with the way that curriculum is moving so quickly, there are very few opportunities for that. So I think that needs to be built into our schools as well.
Thank you, Ashley. Now on to our wrap-up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Paul, and we'll work our way to Chris. You got a minute? Use it however you want to. This is your night, and Paul?
Okay. I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I've learned so much over the last 6 years just to what it means to be on the school board and how the community really will, like I said, will talk to you and come to you, and how you're an advocate, for the community, to the decisions that are made with the school district. And, I don't take that position lightly. Again, my mom and dad were both school teachers. So, I see what the teachers go through. And again, I want to put them in position to succeed. If the teachers are in position to succeed, the students are going to do better. If the students in the school do better, the community does better. And again, there are some alternative educational opportunities that we are working on. Education starts in the home, but unfortunately we have a lot of single parent homes. We have, homes where, uncles and aunts and grandparents are taking care of the children. So I'd just like to thank the parents and the community for what they do in pouring into our school district.
Thank you, Paul. Ruth?
Like everybody else has said, thank you guys for putting this on tonight. We appreciate it. And I did forget to mention earlier that we are in year 1 of a new English language arts program and year 2 of a new math curriculum. So we've got new curriculum in both of those going. I think, like Paul said, none of us signed up for what we've done the last few years. But I think we've done a good job with the hands we were dealt. A lot of times we didn't like the decisions we had to make, but there weren't alternatives. So I think it just shows our passions for what we do. And I would like to continue to do that and encourage everyone to get out and vote on April 4th. Voting's one of the biggest citizens things you can do. So I highly encourage everybody to get out and vote.
Thank you, Ruth. Ashley?
Thank you all for being here and coming to listen to us speak. When I was on the board previously, obviously 2018 to 21, I was there right when COVID hit and was kind of part of that. And being on the board during that time was no easy task. So if I can handle that, I can handle future years. So I had gotten off the board so that I could take a position in the district. And when a position opened up for an opportunity for me to run again, I'm right back here. I really love the opportunity to continue working in schools. I spend from 7 a.m. and then sometimes until 8 o'clock at night in schools. So I would just love that opportunity again.
Thank you, Ashley. Finally, Chris.
I want to thank everyone in this Chamber of Commerce hosting this tonight. Thank you for everyone being here. I have a passion for kids. I have a passion for the teachers. I have definitely respect for them. I know they have a hard task ahead of them and what they do, and I just want everybody to get out there and vote too on April 4th. And thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And for everyone watching, remember, April 4th is the day, and we should all show up and vote. It's the one thing, we can control that. Our schools are just so important to our community, and the school board is kind of a thankless job, but it's terribly important. So Paul Kaufman, Ruth Johnson, Janet Jones, Ashley Jones, Chris Sarsfield, wish you all the best. Thank you for being here. Thanks again to the chamber staff, to Bill for being the timer. You did a great job. For the city for allowing us to use their facilities. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.